Alright, it's the video I've been waiting 4 months to do. Spring training is underway and the Major League regular season starts 4 weeks from today. At this point, we have a pretty good idea what each team is going to be putting out there on opening day. So the time has come for my 2020 MLB Season Predictions. Let's start in the AL East. I'm picking the Yankees to repeat easily. This is a team that won 103 games a year ago, won the division by 7 games, and got better during the offseason. The one thing they seemed to be missing last year was a dominant starting pitcher, and now they've got it. Garrett Cole, last year's AL Cy Young runner-up, brings his 20 wins and .250 ERA to New York. Last year's top Yankee pitcher was 18-game winner Domingo Germán. He'll miss the first 63 games due to suspension. 15-game winner James Paxton will be out for at least the first month, and Luis Severino is out for the year, but he hardly played at all last year, and I expect Cole to pick up the slack while Paxton and Germán are out. In the second half, both of those pitchers will return, and the Yankee staff will be a lot stronger than it was a year ago. The Yankees have one of the best bullpens in the league, led by Aroldis Chapman. The offense should be better this year. Judge missed a lot of games last season. Stanton missed almost the whole season. They'll be in the lineup with last year's top hitters LeMahieu, Torres, and Sanchez. The 2019 Rays won 96 games and took the American League Division Series to 5 games. All the main pieces from that team returned, headed by starting pitcher Charlie Morton. Blake Snell took a step back last year after his 2018 Cy Young season. I expect him to bounce back and be one of the Rays' top starting pitchers again. Offensively, the Rays should be a little better. Austin Meadows, only 24, had a .922 OPS, could be an MVP candidate this year. Tommy Pham left the team. Another outfielder, Hunter Renfroe, was acquired. Not as good of a hitter or base runner as Pham, but has more power. Also joining the team are Manuel Margot, a good defensive outfielder, Jose Martinez, a good hitter that'll probably be a DH, and Yoshitomo Tsutsugo from Japan, who's got some power. They'll miss Emilio Pagan. He left the team after recording 20 saves last year, but this was a team that led the American League in bullpen ERA a year ago, so one departure won't hurt too much. I have the Rays not only finishing second in the East, but having the second best record in the American League. Number 3, the Blue Jays. Fans in Toronto have a lot to be hopeful for in 2020. Vlad Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette, and Cavan Biggio looked promising last year. They're all back, and they're all under 25, so I see them improving and leading the Jays' offense. In the offseason, they picked up Hyunjin Ryu, giving a big boost to their pitching. I don't expect him to be a Cy Young candidate again, but an ERA between 3 and 3.50 and at least 12 wins seems likely. This will be enough to lift the Jays up to 500. Looking forward to being contenders in 2021. It'll be a down year in Boston. The Red Sox finished just 6 games over 500 last year, and now they've lost their best offensive player in Mookie Betts and one of their best pitchers, David Price. One bright spot will be with their ace, Chris Sale. He had a bad 2019, but if you watched him throw, it's obvious he's still got it, so I expect him to once again be one of the league's best pitchers. But it won't be enough to offset the departure of Price and Betts. The Red Sox will be competitive again soon, but not this season. They'll finish under 500. That leaves the Orioles at the bottom. They're not done losing yet. Their farm system still ranks outside the top 10. No offseason acquisitions that'll make a difference. No one ready to come up from the minors that'll make a big splash. A third straight 100-loss season is all but a guarantee. The AL Central belonged to the Twins last year, and it will once again this year. They won the division with one of the league's most potent offenses, finishing second in runs scored and first in home runs. And now they've added Josh Donaldson, who hit 37 home runs, 900 OPS with Atlanta last year. Pitching ranked 5th in the American League, starters and bullpen about equal. Kenta Maeda joins the team this year. He'll give them a little help. So will Rich Hill, but he, along with Michael Pineda, won't be available until June. And they'll probably trade for some more pitching during the season. The White Sox were already an improving team. In 2019, they had 26-year-old batting champion Tim Anderson. Jose Abreu and 23-year-old Eloy Jimenez each hit 30 home runs. These young hitters will be joined by catcher Yasmani Grandal, who draws a lot of walks and has power, a .380 on-base percentage and 28 home runs last year. Edwin Encarnacion and Nomar Mazara also arrive, giving the White Sox a lot of offensive weapons for 2020. Minor League Player of the Year Luis Robert will make his debut on opening day in center field. That's not all. Dallas Keuchel was added to their pitching staff. He's not what he used to be, but still a dependable starter. Altogether, the White Sox had the best offseason of any team, adding to a team that was already up and coming. If the Twins had done nothing during the offseason, I would be picking the White Sox right now to win the AL Central. Instead, I'm picking them to grab the second wild card. The Indians were a 90-win team last year. Corey Kluber was not a big part of that as he only made 7 starts, so his departure isn't as big as it seems. Shane Bieber and Mike Clevenger stepped it up in his absence. Bieber is back, but Clevenger had knee surgery and he'll miss the first part of the season. Offensive leader Francisco Lindor is still an Indian for now, but could very likely be traded. Carlos Santana and Jose Ramirez were their other big contributors, and both of them will be back. Emmanuel Clase was a nice pickup for their bullpen this offseason, but that's about all they got. A lot of uncertainty with this team. They don't know when Clevenger will be back or how long Lindor will be with the team. They've got enough coming back to ensure that they finish over 500, but probably not enough to make a postseason run. Royals and Tigers will have another bad year. Good news for both of them is that their farm systems are in the top 10, but those investments aren't ready to start paying off just yet. There will be a new champion in the AL West. The A's have all the pieces coming back from a team that won 97 games and reached the postseason. A quiet offseason with no major losses or acquisitions. Their bullpen could use a little help, but that's about it. They'll win the West by a comfortable margin. A distant second will be the Rangers, a decent hitting team last year with most of those hitters coming back. Pitching is what held them back, so they got Corey Kluber during the offseason. Not sure how good he'll be after missing most of last season, but he'll definitely make a positive impact. So they'll win more games in 2020, but not nearly enough to close that 19-game gap with the A's. The Angels are next in line. Scoring runs won't be a problem. It wasn't last year when they were in the top half of the league in runs scored. Trout will have another MVP season. Cole Calhoun is gone, but Anthony Rendon has arrived, so their hitting should be even better. But pitching has been and will continue to be the problem. Julio Teheran joins the pitching staff, but he won't be a big difference maker. Ohtani returns to the mound, but he won't be throwing every 5 days. They'll win more games this year because of their hitting, but they'll miss out on the postseason because of their pitching. It's going to be a rough year in Houston. Since their World Series loss last October, there haven't been any positives for the Astros. First, Garrett Cole left the team, so they have to replace the Cy Young runner-up. They also had the Cy Young winner, but at 37, Justin Verlander will never again be as good as he was last year. It's all downhill from here. Greinke is 36, same thing. The best from their bullpen, Will Harris, had a 1.50 ERA and 60 innings of relief. He is no longer with the team. All the hitters are still there, but the sign-stealing scandal is going to follow them all year. It's a distraction that will negatively affect every Astros hitter. Dead last will be the Mariners, who aren't really trying to win. They've built a good farm system, so they've got a bright future ahead. But for this year, 100+ in the loss column is a strong possibility. Over to the National League. The East will be very competitive, but don't expect any change at the top. The Atlanta Braves, winners of 97 last year, will be in first again. The Will Smith signing gives them a stronger bullpen. Incoming pitcher Cole Hamels had the exact same ERA as outgoing pitcher Julio Teheran, but overall Hamels is a better pitcher, so this is a slight upgrade. Josh Donaldson's bat will be missed. Marcelo Ozuna's arrival almost makes up for it. Acuna and Freeman and all the rest will be back. Second, the defending World Series champion Washington Nationals. From June to October, they were the best team in MLB, and despite a few off-season changes, the lineup looks just as strong. So you might be tempted to pick them to win the division. But World Series hangovers are so common, I think the Nationals won't be as good as they were last year, though I am picking them to get the first wild card, just as they did last year. The biggest off-season improvement was to their bullpen, much needed because the Nationals' bullpen was one of the league's worst a year ago. They signed Will Harris, the league leader in relief pitcher ERA, and another good arm with Ryan Harper. Anthony Rendon was a big loss, but they signed first baseman Eric Thames and second baseman Starlin Castro. Those two hit a combined 46 home runs last year. Third, the Phillies. The past 2 seasons have seen fast starts and second-half collapses, but this year will be different. The Phillies will get the second wild card. First of all, McCutchen will be back. Maybe not for opening day, but he'll be there. His injury last year came right about the time their collapse started. They picked up Zach Wheeler, a good starting pitcher, and Didi Gregorius adds some power to the lineup. Most important is the managerial change. Second-half collapses are, more often than not, a problem with the manager. Girardi is a proven winner when he's got good players, and in Philly, he'll have that. The Mets will fall from 3rd to 4th. Pitcher Zach Wheeler is gone. Replacements are Rick Porcello and Michael Wacha, a pair of pitchers on the decline. For the bullpen, they got Dellin Betances, but he missed all of 2019. No guarantee he'll return to his 2018 form. So the team's pitching looks weaker, and they did little to upgrade the hitting. Mets will be a 500 team in 2020. That leaves the Marlins in their usual place at the bottom, but this is an improved team. Starlin Castro is gone, but new to the team this year is Jonathan Villar, 24 home runs, 40 stolen bases last year. Corey Dickerson is another new arrival. Last year he missed half the season, but posted a .906 OPS while he was playing. Brandon Kinsler is a dependable relief pitcher. Last year he had a .268 ERA and 62 appearances with the Cubs. So while I'm picking them to finish last again, they won't lose 105 games again, probably around 93. The NL Central was a tight race involving 3 teams in 2019. In 2020, a 4th team will join the mix. It'll be so close these 4 teams could finish in any order. The only thing I'm really sure about is the team in last. The Reds are my pick for first. Sounds crazy, but hear me out. The Reds played in the most one-run games of any team last year. In 57 one-run games, they were 24-33. It's reasonable to think that if they got just a little bit better, they could turn a lot of those losses into wins. Well, they didn't just get a little better, they got a lot better. Pitching was never the problem. They were 4th in the National League in team ERA. Offense was the issue, ranking 12th in the National League in runs scored. So they signed Nick Castellanos, who had an .863 OPS, 27 home runs, 58 doubles last year. Mike Moustakas, .845 OPS, 35 home runs, 30 doubles. And Shogo Akiyama, who always kept his on-base percentage around .400 in Japan. This will be enough to put their offense in the top 5, along with their pitching. All their best pitchers return. For second, I'm going with the Cards. 91 wins a year ago. Their only big loss during the offseason was Marcell Ozuna. No major acquisitions to make up for that loss, but this will once again be a pitching team, led by Jack Flaherty, my pick for the Cy Young. The Brewers are third. Catcher Grandal left. Omar Narvaez arrived, almost a one-for-one replacement in offensive production. Moustakas left, no real replacement for him. His 35 home runs and .845 OPS will be missed. The Brewers ranked around the middle of the league in offense. They'll fall to the bottom half now. One good addition to the bullpen with David Phelps becoming a Brewer this year. Yelich will have another good year. So will Hader. The Brewers are still a winning team, but not a postseason team. Fourth place, the Cubs. This team has enough talent to win the division. Baez, Bryant, Rizzo, and Contreras are still there. Darvish and Hendricks lead their pitching staff, but only 84 wins last year and no positive moves in the offseason. Worst of all was losing Castellanos. Maybe Ross can work some magic as the new manager, but I won't count on it. Cubs finished just over 500. And that leaves the Pirates in last. They were last in 2019, allowed one of their best hitters, Starling Marte, to walk out the door, and didn't pick up anyone worth mentioning. They lost 93 a year ago. They'll lose 100 this year. We'll see a new champion in the West, one of these years, but not this year. Even if the Mookie Betts trade hadn't gone through, I'd still be picking the Dodgers to win it. And since they did add the 2018 American League MVP to their lineup, and a good starting pitcher to their rotation, the Dodgers will win the NL West by the biggest margin of all divisions. The Dodgers scored the most runs of any National League team in 2019, and had one of the best hitters in the league to that offense. Number 1 in all of MLB in team ERA. They let Ryu leave, but signed Price as a replacement. I don't expect Price 2020 to be as good as Ryu 2019, but the upgrade in offense will offset the downgrade in defense. The Diamondbacks won 85 games last year. No reason they can't top that this year. Greinke left during last season. Bumgarner arrives this season. A little step down from Greinke, but the difference is Bumgarner will remain in Arizona from start to finish. Cole Calhoun also joins the Diamondbacks. 33 home runs and an .816 OPS versus right-handed pitchers. Another addition to the offense is Starling Marte, a 31-year-old center fielder with an .845 OPS, 23 home runs, and 25 stolen bases last year. The Diamondbacks are a better team, but you won't notice much with the Dodgers dominating the division. Padres are next. A lot of similarities between the White Sox and Padres. Both teams were bad in 2018, improved in 2019, had a great offseason, and have high hopes for 2020. Tommy Pham brings 21 home runs and 25 stolen bases to the offense. Starting pitcher Zach Davies and relief pitchers Drew Pomeranz and Emilio Pagan bring positive contributions to the team. They'll have one of the best bullpens in the league, and they'll finish right behind Arizona, but we'll have to wait another year before reaching the postseason. The Giants will have to settle for fourth. First year of the post-Bochy-Bumgarner era will be a transitional one. Only big signing was Hunter Pence coming back after a short absence. The fans will enjoy seeing that, but it won't make a big difference. The worst team in the National League will be the Colorado Rockies. They were one of the worst teams last year and did nothing to improve their situation. Only good news is that Nolan Arenado is still a Rocky, for now, and he's not happy, so it's not really good news. The postseason, of course, is impossible to predict right now. Even if every team I predict to reach the postseason now does reach the postseason, when the time comes I'll probably have a totally different take on it. But just for the hell of it, here are my postseason predictions. Rays will top the inexperienced White Sox in the wild card and go on to meet the Yankees, where they'll lose in a hard-fought 5-game series. Twins sweep the A's and hope to avenge last year's 3-game sweep at the hands of the Yankees. But another loss to the Yankees, this time in 5 games, adds to their frustration. Nationals beat the Phillies with either Scherzer or Strasburg on the mound, whoever's hotter at the moment. But they won't be able to repeat their 2019 magic as the Dodgers dispose of them in 4. Braves will take care of the Reds in 4, but are no match for the Dodgers, LA in 6. In the World Series, the Dodgers claim their first title in 32 years in a 7-game struggle over the Yankees. Do you agree with my predictions for the 2020 season? I'm sure you don't. Tell me why not in the comment section. and subscribe for more videos you disagree with. Until next time, this is Baseball International. See ya.